Hey guys, welcome back to Ultimate S&S. So a quick video here. Be very perceptive of what's going on around you, not just in town, but also at your home. If you're doing gardens and stuff, pay attention to who's watching you, because you're going to have neighbors and stuff that think they're going to slink into your garden at night, take what they want and stuff. And understand these people, they're not going to pick crops correctly. So you need to put up some sort of a warning system or something, some lights or something like that. Now, depends on the neighborhood you're in. Maybe not all neighbors like that. But as you see the food prices continue to increase, and you see that the availability on the shelves is continuing to go down, you're seeing more empty shelves here in the next weeks ahead. uh, be aware that there are people who are watching what you're doing. Unless you live in a complete secluded area, your neighbors are driving by, they see you working your gardens, they see you working your flocks, they see you doing your projects, and it catches their attention. Now, they're not going to take the time 9 times out of 10 to do their own projects. What they're going to do is, well, hey, if something gets bad, we'll just take their stuff. And that is the mentality of society today. No one wants to work for what it is that they eat, what they have, and stuff like that. They have a mentality of, well, we'll just take it from them. And we're seeing that every day in society. And that's going to be the mentality when things come to a head and we finally get to an SHTF situation, guys. So you're going to have to figure out a way. Either put your gardens in the backyard, and that can be inconvenient. Like mine's up in the front yard, right near the main road, which I didn't really want to put it there, but until I put in a Sandpoint well in the back, stuff like that, there's really not a water source back there for the garden. And it gets hot here come end of May, first part of June. It is crazy hot. So I've not been too worried about trying to hide that, because it is right out front. I have a dog who alerts me if anything's in the yard at all. Sometimes he's alerting me stuff that I can't even see, so my guess is it's a cat or something like that running around out there. I know there are some feral cats running around, but just be very careful when you're at the store and you're getting like those last few cans and stuff. Understand people are going to be getting a little more desperate here in the future. Now people just kind of sit back and mumble about, well, they're buying too much stuff, which, hey, buy what you can get as much as you can get. That's my suggestion. But understand, as the panic starts to set in here before too long, people are going to try to get your stuff. They're not going to try to buy it from you. They're going to try to get it from you as you leave the store. It happens every year as it is. Black Friday sales and stuff, I think they've mostly went online now, but before that went on as an online event. There were people jumping people in cities, trying to get whatever it was they bought that they wanted. They were out, but they're looking for somebody in the parking lot who's got it, and they come out and they attack them. That happened here after Hurricane Michael. They had attacks, they had shootings, unfortunately, over cases of water from the store. That's insane, because every church around here was giving away cases of water. There was no sense to go to an aggressive. But understand, people are in a panic mentality. And when you're panicked, you're going to be one of two ways. You're either going to be calm and prepared, which is what I'm hoping this channel will get you there, or you're going to be panicked, you're going to be freaking out, you're not going to be thinking straight that, hey, you know what, there's probably a food bank or a church or something that's got water for people, and just freak out. Now, you can be prepared in the aspect of try to put in wells, try to store your own water. I can tell you a water barrel is an expensive endeavor, but it's going to pay itself off very fast. A lot quicker than going out and buying the same amount of water at the store. If you go buy $100 worth of water, bottled water, guys, and it's going to run out. If you have a rain barrel, it's something that can be replenishing. I would recommend trying to at least get a shallow well put in. If you have good water that can be drank, get some kind of a shallow well put in. That's not usually too expensive. If you have a decent water table, 20-30 foot, a lot of times you can do hand driven with those, and put in a Sandpoint or something like that. But you're going to need to be thinking proactively about where you're at, what area you're in. Obviously, if you're in like the mountains or something, you would want to look for more of a stream, because you're not going to get one of them hand driven wells through solid granite. It's just not going to happen. Out in the garden, I notice here that we got a few people that kind of slow down and want to rubberneck, see what's going on and stuff. And I'm a very vocal person. Maybe it can come off as wrong, come off as just some old hermit or something. But when they're doing that, you can clearly see they're looking at what you're working on or whatever. I just say, hey, what are you looking at? And then they speed up and go on. I'm a very vocal person when they do that kind of stuff. I know my brother was out here in the yard and I had the dog out walking around and was talking to him, normal conversation. Someone's coming up, they're like going real slow, staring like at what we're doing. And I just look at him as loud as I could be, and I'm like, "What do you reckon they're looking at?" I said, "Why don't they mind their own business?" And he's like, "I was probably trying to figure out why there's two people walking a dog, but there wasn't two people walking the dog. The dog walks himself, does what he wants to do. I'm just the idiot on the leash to keep him from chasing cars that go by because for some reason he has an infatuation with tires that spin. That's why I hook him to a leash." But as far as the neighbors and stuff, most of them are pretty good. There are some of those that are kind of nosy. And then you get those that are like, oh man, you got a garden in, you should come help me put one in at my place and take care of it for me so I can sit back and get all the food. And you don't want people like that anywhere near your stuff. But you're going to be facing the real decisions of life, which we face those every day, but we're going to be facing moral dilemmas. That which we know is wrong, and we're saying, well, we would never do that. But when that panic sets in, and when the food scarcity hits levels, and you're hearing, that people people aren't really being fed the way they're used to, that they're still hungry. Understand, if you go into survival mode, there's going to be a difference of how much you eat. You may eat huge meals right now. You're not going to be able to do that in the future. You could, but you're going to burn through your food a lot quicker. So that's when you need to get in there and start looking at the calories and make sure that stuff is good. Make sure that your vitamins and stuff, are the best of your abilities and things like that. It wouldn't hurt to get a supply of multivitamins. That's one of the things that I've done here, because even if you're not getting all of the calories you could use, you can still get the vitamins and minerals and stuff in your body that you need. And that's going to help you in the process. But, I don't think we're ever going to get down to a can for 4 people down here where we're at, but it's a possibility you could have to ration. So you need to be coming up with rationing plans and things like that as well. There's so much information out there of what you can and can't do. And there are a lot of really great channels that really help you to maybe think outside the box on stuff. So when it comes to, if you want what you call homesteading, what I call homesteading is probably not what most people think. Homesteading to me is you're at home and you are creating a life where you're providing food on your table. Now, it may start off slow. Don't get discouraged because you're only providing like some sides to the food on your table. Or maybe you're providing the meat on it, but not the vegetables and stuff like that. That's where your community comes in. Maybe you find somebody who's got a garden. And if you've got chickens, it's like, man, I really like chicken cooked however or whatever. Maybe you can trade them a bird for produce, vegetables, and stuff like that, But understand, when the fall happens, it's going to be hard to know who to trust to do that initially, because simply people are going to be out for themselves. And there's too many people that talk about wanting to swap lead for their stores and stuff, or for whatever they need. I don't agree with that mentality. I agree with the mentality that if you've got it there and you're going to do it for protection, then sure. You're protecting your family and stuff like that. For people who are aggressively trying to hurt y'all, then you absolutely defend yourself. But for people that think they're just going to run around and just rob and steal what they need, we have plenty of that going on now. Why wait for the end of the world? So you're showing who you really are even now in these times. And that's the thing, is there's a lot of people that I know that seem like they're really nice people, and then they'll say, oh no, I'll just go out and I'll take what I want from whoever I can get it from. The mentality problem with that is you're not going to be anywhere near me. As far as people are looking around, and I think Survival Living had said this best, and he said there's a lot of people that want to be part of a group, but the problem is that they want to be running a group that they're just joining. And when it comes to a group, so the way things work out in our group is everyone has their own project, and we can put input into other people's projects. But if you come to my project and you put input in that I know won't work, then I'll say, try that. That's not going to work. We're going to do it this way, or I'm going to do it this way, but you're welcome to try it that way. And then you give them seeds or something like that, and they can try it that way. And when it doesn't work, then they'll know it doesn't work. If it does work and looks even better, then we all know it works and it looks better. But be prepared that when you have ideas, that everybody won't always be accepting of your ideas. But that doesn't mean you should give up on your idea, because if you're convinced that it could work and that it could be a good thing, you need to give it a try. There are no idea people around that just comes up with ideas, sits around all day, drinking their beer, coming up with ideas, or whatever the situation is going to be, guys, drinking water or whatever. And they say, yeah, I had a great idea, guys, y'all need to go do this, and just sit back until the next great idea comes along. That won't fly. It's going to be a situation where people are going to be working. I don't mean their 9-to-5 jobs. They're going to be working their yards. They're going to be working their fields. They're going to be working their flocks and, cattle, whatever herds or whatever you're doing, guys. That you're just not going to have time for a bunch of other crazy stuff to be added in. And that's where it's nice to break those projects up to people and stuff. You don't want to overwhelm somebody, but you do want to make sure that they have a full day. And it all comes back to, if you don't work, you don't eat. And that's what it comes down to. And there's different types of work. There's different types of contributing, I should say. When I say work, I mean if you're not contributing in some kind of a positive manner. So now there are a lot of old timers that have a lot of really good knowledge when it comes to gardening and stuff. So if you're having some garden issues, maybe you've got some old timers there, well, they might not be able to get out and weed. They might not be able to get out and hoe the garden and stuff. But if you're having a problem in the garden, it could be something where they could come out and tell you that, okay, well, your plant's suffering because of whatever the issue is, and tell you a good way to fix it. And that kind of knowledge is not something that is readily available today at just that kind of an instance. Now, understand, it sort of is when it comes to internet and stuff. But what are you going to do when your smartphones no longer have internet access? And that's going to be an issue. So study as much stuff as you can. You might not know it all. You're not going to know it all. I'm going to promise you, you're not going to come to any group and know everything there is to know. If you do, then probably the group isn't going to let you join. Now, you can go to a group and have a lot of knowledge in areas and stuff that can really help contribute into their group, and that's what I would recommend, guys. But anyway, I've got to get back out to the garden. It's miserably hot outside today. It really is. I'm sorry. I'm dreading it. Oh, I've got most everything done out there. I do have to take and go across the back section of the garden. And I was looking at some cornfields and stuff, some videos and old photos even. And looks to me like a lot of these farmers, when they cut the cornfields in and all, they just let it grow and then harvest it out. So I'm not too worried about keeping all of the little bit of weeds and stuff that's in that side where it's the corn growing. I'll keep it clear around the lettuce, but I'm just gonna kind of let the corn do its thing. I'll pull the big weeds by hand, but that small stuff, I'm done hoeing that up. I'm gonna try it. The front side of the garden where I got corn, that'll stay cleaned out. The back side of it, we're gonna try it. I mean, it's not gonna be growed up like a jungle, but it's gonna be longer than the front. And the main reason for that is that back section of the garden is not gardening terrain. Now it can be, but that's going to take a lot of work. That's going to take a lot of work this fall, which I plan to do once that corn comes out of harvest. I'm going to harvest all that up, and that's all going to get tilled many times over. It's going to get amended with chicken poo and compost and stuff like that. And then over the fall, winter season, I plan to till that thing up every few weeks when it's cold and we're getting those heavy frosts, mainly to kill all the weeds and roots and stuff like that, because it has been a bear keeping that back section up. It wasn't tilled in properly as far as the multiple tills. It was tilled in and rows were made, but it's yeah. I understand now why my brother was like, yeah, I'm done with this side. But he's gotten busy with stuff, with a lot of his projects and stuff, and taking on some new things. So it's like, okay, well, when I planted it, I'm kind of looking at the stuff that's in the garden. I'm like, we're just going to go with corn mostly. We kept a row of lettuce that he had planted out that actually survived that frost, but it killed everything else. So we put in some corn, and that's going to give us plenty of corn. We're going to have too much corn, I'm sure, but it's not really too much. I'm going to let a lot of it dry, and I'm going to do a bunch of cracked corn that's going to be feeding the chickens and stuff, scratch and stuff like that as well. So between a lot of the greens and stuff that we're going to be kicking out, and I'm going to try to do a lot of those year round if we can. at least until the frosts hit. But keep a lot of that up, feed that to the chickens and all. That's going to give them plenty of food. Then with our uh, mealworms that are growing out there, I took a look down inside the bucket, and now I don't know how deep they are as far as coming in there. It's about probably just under a half bucket, but they are a ton of bugs inside that bucket, which is good. Not good bugs, life cycles of the mealworms. So I'm gonna give them a little bit more time on that, but I'm looking at maybe being able to start pulling a scoop out of that a week, maybe at least for a little while, and giving to the chickens. The quail, I've got a busy day out there today. I got to go out and butcher a bunch of quail, get all those processed up, ready for the freezer and stuff. I'm gonna put some in a crock pot and eat that this evening, I think. But most of it's gonna get frozen and then divvied out amongst the groups and all. So one thing I would recommend doing that I think we're going to look at doing here is doing what they call a community chest freezer, which is have a large freezer and have that hooked to like solar backups and stuff like that, and it have some sort of way like with a generator as well. But the solar, I think, is going to be the best backup system after, say, fuel and stuff runs out. But to be able to put different stuff in, and that's going to be an area where if you got an overabundance, then everyone in our group can actually put some stuff in there, and it's going to have the redundancy set in. And if you're looking at doing systems like that, then you should really talk to like-minded people. Start building your own group. Stop looking for a group to join. Build your own group. Start your sustainability. See where you're lacking, and you'll meet people that have things that can be added into it, and tell them what you're doing. Hey, you can bring by and explain what you're doing, and see if they're interested in working in a sustainability program too. I know a lot of people are like, well, I wouldn't trust people other than family. Well, there's people out there that I would trust better than some members of my family. It's just that way it is. Not, I don't trust a whole lot of people anyway, but yeah, there are some family members I wouldn't trust with stuff, but then there are those who are, and those are the ones that I stay in contact with. That's just kind of the way it is. And also, I don't really stress myself like trying to run across the country or call across the country to call people who never call me, and it's like, oh, well, you never keep in touch. Well, phones work both ways. So watch your groups, make sure it's people that are like-minded, make sure you're on the same page. It's not someone just sitting back there, I want to join your group, and then sit back because you got food, and they think they're going to sit back and eat food and stuff like that and not contribute in any kind of way. That's going to be a very real thing. And I know that there's a lot of people that kind of joke around with stuff like that and all, but understand that it's the only people that are in this group contribute in some way. That's it. And the only people that will be allowed into a group later, and understand I'm not really looking to add anybody to this group. I don't think my brother is either. It's one of the things where we've kind of got what we need. We've got military experiences from the Army. We've got military experiences from the Air Force. We have real world applications with electrical stuff, structural stuff, things like that as well. Gardening now, raising different types of animals and stuff like that. And we've actually got a working program going in now when it comes to like medical stuff like that. We've got some people that have been RNs and things like that, CNAs, which give you a little bit of medical knowledge there as well. So those are some really good avenues to have in your groups as well. So I would recommend that if they bring a specialty like that, understand they might not be out working in the garden, but if you get messed up, you're going to need medical help. That's a good thing to have. And they're going to be able to give you a better idea of what kind of stuff that can be treated, triage or like combat medic type situation. That's where it's nice to have those people who were maybe a combat medic in the military stuff. They're going to be able to tell you, well, this is the type of stuff that you need to make sure that we're stocked up on. They can be stocking up on it. You can be stocking up on it. Then the group is ready to go. So that's going to be a lot of the types of people that you should be looking for, guys. But I hope this answers some of the questions and stuff that I've seen being posted. I won't be getting off here. I'll probably be doing a video a day. I know there for a while I was doing 2 or 3, but right now with everything going on, I'm getting covered up, and it's too hot. When it finally is, when I get a break stuff, I'm exhausted. I'm wiped out a lot of times. But we're going to be doing our Wednesday night live streams, be 8 o'clock. And that's 8 o'clock at night Central Time. So we'll be doing those. And then Saturdays are kind of, just kind of depends what's going on. We was able to make our Saturday morning live stream, and that one's not really something that's scheduled. That's just if I've got time in between projects or feel like doing it after being outside in the heat all day. Uh, we'll see how it goes. But I hope everyone's having a great day, and we're going to get off here.